Ahead of Saturday's election in Ondo State, the Independent National Electoral Commission has commenced the distribution of sensitive electoral materials. The exercise took place earlier today at the Central Bank of Nigeria in Akure, where electoral officials from the 18 local governments are receiving the materials. Agents of political parties and election observers are also present to monitor the process. Our correspondent Ayodeji Moradeyo is standing by for us to bring us up to speed. Ayo, talk to us about the preparations ahead of the Saturday's election. What more do we know from your end?
We are today at the INEC office at Alagbaka, and the sensitive materials are being moved to the local government areas. We have 18 local government areas in Ondo State. These materials are being moved in the presence of security agencies. We have other sister agencies of the security agencies monitoring the movement. And we also have representatives of different political parties. These will be moved today. And we have many buses in front of the Central Bank of Nigeria where the materials are being moved to the INEC office, to the 18 local government areas of the state.
Talking about the conveying of these sensitive materials and the observers, were there some things they were saying that is of concern to them ahead of this election?
Yes, for now, they are not raising any points or issues. What they want is transparent movement of these materials, and that is what INEC is doing in front of the party members and observers. Some local observers and international observers are also monitoring the deployment of these sensitive material. I think the party agents and the police and other security agencies are happy with what is being done at the CBN right now. The materials are being moved, and the buses are driving in one after another to move these materials. And I think the people are really happy with this, most especially party members who are there to monitor the movement of these materials.
Well, these materials will definitely be passing the night in some of these places that they've been moved to. Should we expect, some level of security, the layers of security, for these sensitive materials ahead of this election?
Let me tell you that these sensitive materials are not being moved alone. They are being moved with security agencies. They are moving one after the other so that it can be well protected. So the INEC have made a provision that this material should not go alone without security agencies. So it will be kept at different walls before it will be distributed to the unit. So that is what is currently being done at the INEC office. I'm talking to you right now.
Let's anticipate integrity and protection of these election materials. Thank you so much, Ayodeji Moradeyo, senior reporter. We also have senior reporter Sarah Ayeku, who is standing by for us in Ondo State. Sarah, what more do we know from your end?
Now we have at the officers' mess, that's at the 32 Artillery, that's the Defense Headquarters here in Akure, Ondo State. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, is meeting with other security sister agencies to, of course, ascertain and dot all the I's and cross the T's as against security for Saturday's election. And so we have a number of sister agencies, aside, of course, I'm talking about the police, the Army, members of the Federal Road Safety Corps, from the Immigration Service. A number of sister agencies, particularly security agencies, are in this hall at the officers' mess just to and he's going to be addressing the troops much later on. And something he said earlier when he was talking to some men of the command, he had said that President Tinubu is particularly happy and impressed with the conduct of the military during the last election. That's Edo State governorship election. And he's expecting that the men, of course, the troops would show up for this election and do well for this election and impress the president and, of course, the people. He's also, as he has has also said that elections are not warfare. Elections should not be a warfare, and that's his word specifically, that elections should not be a warfare. And he's expecting that all the political gladiators, the security agencies would put up a good show for Saturday's election. One other thing he had mentioned was that the military, the number of personnel they are deploying for this election is not to scare off people from the polling units. It's just to ascertain that security, there is peace and order in Ondo State that's come Saturday. Ibrahim.
So it's one thing for us to have the military, making it known to the people or to the fellow soldiers that they have a duty to protect the integrity of this election. But how about the people? Do you feel that they are anticipating, they're looking so well ahead of Saturday to see what's going to happen? Are they confident about what security will be granted on this day?
Ibrahim, if you take a look at the 2023 elections and the couple of off-cycle elections from Bayelsa to Edo State, those off-cycle elections have, of course, shown something about the electoral umpire. That's INEC. They are trying to improve on some of the technicalities for these elections. We're talking about the BVAS responding or not malfunctioning on election day. And the people, of course, are hoping that they would be able to gain that confidence. Of course, INEC has said that they're distributing sensitive materials today, but the people, on part of the people, they are hoping that INEC would not delay to most of the polling units, but major concern is for the riverine communities because of the distance. That's the distance I'm talking about from Akure to these riverine communities. That's a big concern for some residents. They're hoping that INEC has that already sorted, and particularly for security. The security agencies, for them, they are prepared. And the word for the residents is that they should not be scared of the number of security personnel they see on the streets. The security personnel are there to ensure that this election is peaceful and orderly, free, if they can, of course, ensure, of course, for the electoral umpire is to ensure that it is free and credible. So that's what this election is about. The people, of course, ready, particularly those in the rural communities. The conversation really is about these urban centers. I'm talking about Akure and the central area of Ondo State coming out to vote, which is a lot of a topical issue for analysts about how low the low turnout of voters in the central. But when you go to the interlands, the rural areas where you have the large turnout of voters, they are hoping that this time around for this election in the urban centers, residents will come out to vote at this centers because that's where you have the population, that's where you have the votes.
Well, it's one of the things that we get to see during election is where we have military officials or maybe the police and what have you, having a show of force on the street across the metropolis and all of that. Are we beginning to see that very quickly, Sarah?
If you're in Akure, this is your first time, of course, and I'm very sure for the residents, right? This is one of the few times they're seeing a lot of sirens blaring at almost every time at intervals, sirens here and there from all of the agencies, that's the security agencies, from the VIPs also. We have a number of VIPs in the States, and the sirens they're hearing, of course, makes, even if you don't know that there is an election on Saturday, with all of the sirens, right, it's some sort of announcement that something interesting is happening on Saturday. And so for the people, having security agencies around the area, it's not something they should be scared about because the security agencies have given their word that they should not be scared. And for the people, it's for them to have confidence in the security agencies. And for the military, they are priding themselves that in the last election, there were no queries or misconduct on the part of the military, and they're trying to ride on the back of that good conduct in the last election. That's in the Edo State governorship election. They are hoping to show up for this election and also ensure that this election is peaceful and orderly. For the people, of course, these are interesting times. The economy is booming. You have more people coming out to buy stuff from the traders. And so we're expecting that this is just once in 4 years. So for the people, they are happy to see a number of visitors coming to their states to show up for this election.
Interesting information there. Senior reporter Sarah Ayeku, thank you so much for your for the update. Thank you.